Good morning. It's Sunday. Relaxing a little bit. Rikers Island story. I'm going to concentrate on Deb Canty. Deb Canty, like I said, she was very aggressive. When I saw her, I knew what she was out. She wanted to be on top, but she wanted to be on top fast. She didn't want to take her time. She didn't want to do the year, then take the test. And she wanted to get there as fast as she can. She wanted to run the jails, even probably become commissioner. That was her dream, you know. And she did it through blackmail. Now she placed her baby father. At the time, I don't know. They probably married by now or whatever. As drivers for all the wardens and all the debts. She was keeping an eye out and an ear out on the misdoings, or if they was cheating on their wives, or if they was doing whatever. So she can blackmail. She can blackmail these wardens and take control of the jail. Because I was having, like I said, I was having a meeting with one of the wardens because I wanted to get transferred. I was just tired of the nonsense, and it was really stressing me out because left, right, center, and they was trying to say I'm sick and crazy and all that, because that's what they do. In order for them to look good, and in order for nobody to listen to you, they prove you crazy. Because when you get caught, it's the officer who suffers, and the white shirts don't, and you're working for them. I wasn't working for any one of them, but I'm saying the officers who do fall in the trap of bringing the drugs in and distributing it to the inmates and stuff like that. When they get caught, they have to serve their time by themselves, and they can't sit there and explain. Well, I was approached by so and so, and da 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 da. Nobody's gonna believe them, because when do you ever get to see the dep? The dep being, but they be making moves because they have the other officers and the other captains telling you what to do and how to do it. Everybody's making moves. Everybody have, a job to do in the drug game, in the jail. And me not wanting to be part of that, I just used to sit back and watch. So when my partner, Burks, told me, was always arguing with me about breakfast in the morning with the inmates, and me, having the inmates clean and stuff like that, I just used to sit back and watch her. I'm like, well, she doesn't come in with anything. Her hands are always empty and stuff like that, whatever. She never brings in nothing. The most probably she would bring in is water, but she was smuggling drugs in the jail. And in order for it to be distributed, she had to control the thing, because it's like a dance. The guy, you give the portion to the guys inside your area, and then here comes the other part. So when the garbage is being collected, you don't know where that garbage is going. You don't know. Everybody has their thing. So they set up their people, sanitation, house gang, everything. So I just used to sit back and watch, because I said I want to see how they get these drugs in here and how they distribute it. And I sat back and watched, and I learned, and they were just thinking that I wasn't paying attention, but I was paying attention to them just as much as I was paying attention to the inmates, because of course that was my job, to pay attention to the inmates, and but I was paying attention to some of these crooked officers, and these depths. The wardens is always in a meeting and stuff like that, so he depended on the depths to fill him in on what's going on. But if Canty and Johnson and some of her other cohorts is finding out things about you that you're doing off duty, and they want to blackmail you, you're gonna let them run the show. And one of the wardens, I felt, was caught up in that, because he was a good warden. He never took a day off, I heard, since he became an officer, whatever the case may be. So, and then he became warden. But like I said, when I had a meeting with him, with my delegate, to ask for a transfer, because my transfer was taking too long. They was holding it back, Johnson and Canty, and whoever else. Because they didn't want me to go to Brooklyn House because that's where I wanted to go. They wanted to send me where they wanted to go. Not because now that they know that I no longer wanted to be in 95, they didn't want me to get anything that I wanted. They wanted to always control me and show me that they always going to control me. And so every 6 months I would put in my transfer, and so the warden told me, yeah, your name is on the list. And she got mad that he even told me that, because like I said, she came into the meeting and I asked her why she's in my meeting. I don't want her in my meeting. I said, my delegate is here. Why are you in my meeting with the warden? But she had something over him. I'm trying to remember his name. He was black, and well, he was the last warden I saw when I was there. So if investigation is listening, yeah, she had something over him, because when I asked him why is she in here, in my meeting with him, he had nothing to say. And then she looked at me like, bitch, I run this jail. You understand? Like, and I told him, I said, I'm not going to really say what I wanted to say, but I just want to transfer. So when she found out that I wanted to transfer, then I guess she looked at my paperwork to see that I wanted to go to Brooklyn House. She put a pause on all that. They wouldn't transfer me. They wouldn't transfer me at all. I'm trying to get out your way so you can do what you're doing, but they want to act like they own people. That they can scare you to death, but you can do whatever you want to. Eventually, I did leave the thing, but you can do it. But you're not gonna own me. You're not gonna scare me to death. You're not gonna, you can call me crazy. You can have all the paperwork you want, because the doctor told me. The doctor told me they want you out. And because they had something over him, HMD, Captain Barrett, and Johnson crew. So it's like as an officer, you feel like there's no way to turn or whatever. So I'm doing this so I can help whatever officer is in turmoil right now to make a decision. Am I going to be an officer or am I going to be a drug dealer? I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's your game. I'm not looking down on nobody being a drug dealer, but drug dealing in jail is something totally different. You understand? If you want to be on the street doing that stuff and that's your life, hey, I lived amongst them all my life, and I minded my business. But you infringing your lifestyle onto me because I don't want to be part of your crew. I've never been part of nobody's crew ever since a little girl, and I just I feel for some of the officers who have to make that decision, because you know they terrorize you, they dig into your life. One time I was dating this guy, and he came to me one day and he said, Rhonda, I said, what? He said, 5 officers stopped them in the middle of the street because they was following him. They was finding out what I'm doing, who I'm doing, and they questioned him and stuff like that. But at that time, me and him was really arguing and stuff like that. So I didn't bother to ask him what they was asking him about. He said 5 officers stopped him. So I'm like, am I in an investigation? Yeah, because they trying to find out everything about you. So I don't smoke. He did. So they trying to find out, how can I get this bitch? You understand? But you can't, because I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't smuggle nothing. I didn't, because I was investigated by the FBI. I was investigated by the internal people from corrections, and they found nothing. You understand? So they wanted to dirty me up or find out, what I was doing. My next door neighbor is Jamaican, and Sonia, she's Jamaican, and my super was Jamaican. So they got to know the super and my next door neighbor, or the kids. So they was just trying to find out, is she dirty? No, I'm not. So then they made friends with all the Jamaicans on the block, because the super in the other building, he's Jamaican, and it looked like regular stuff. Oh, how you doing, brother? But in the meantime, they getting to know these people. They even got to know my accountant, because my accountant is Haitian, and they didn't get to know him, but they got to know his wife. And every time, what's this? Okay, okay. And every time I found my thing, um, something always going wrong, because he always tell me send all my paperwork to his wife's email. So when I tell him, oh, I didn't get this, oh, I didn't get that. He was shocked because he knew that he did it. So then later on, I figured out it was his wife. So they got to know the wife of my accountant because he's Haitian, So I'm not putting down all Haitian people. I'm just putting down the Haitians on 90 in C95 and who's bothering me. One of my neighbors is Haitian, and she came up to my face. She didn't came up. She came up to me one day and said, "Oh, I can park any way I want to. That parking spot over there is mine in front of my house." Because she walking around feeling that she can control because she probably know somebody up in 95, and I think they do. They know Burks, they know Canty, so it may seem off the kilt to you, but yeah, I think they know each other, or they got to know each other because they've been following me all these years. So they finding out who's Haitian, who's Jamaican. Let me make friends. Let me, who's this, who's from whatever godforsaken country my other neighbors is from, or whatever. You know, um, these people get to know you because they don't want me to say anything. You understand? But I go back to say she was working off a blackmail. She found out things about the wardens because her man was chauffeur to all the wardens and all the depths, and she blackmails them, and she finds out things about them. You understand? All of them, these women. So when I hear all these, oh, women need to do this, women, no, because they don't do their job just to do their job. They do their job for as they working as a tool as I'm gonna get you. You understand? They using it as their personal life. You understand? If they don't like you, they gonna sabotage you in every way, and yeah, she was finding out all the ins and outs of what these wardens was up to, what these deaths was up to. That's getting promoted or whatever the case. Because to be a warden, you got to be promoted. You got to be thing into somebody got to like you in order to be a warden, and so I heard, and I can't remember to be honest with you. And Deb Johnson, her crew is bigger than Deb Canty, and Johnson was on her way out when I was there. I don't know if she's still there or but somebody had to take over. So like I said, she would use all the secretaries. So I just found out that, okay, I'll tell you a story. When I was in the academy, I was sexually harassed by this officer named Nakia Gales. I don't know Nakia. Okay, her name was Nakia Gales, Officer Nakia Gales. I don't know who recruited this woman because she's straight out the ghetto. She is as ghetto as they come. I don't know how she passed. I used to be like, who the hell recruited her? Because she would want to fight and act like she is in the projects. No disrespect to no project people. Because one of my best friends lived in the projects and she was very graceful and stuff. Yeah, she was just straight out the gutter. And come to find out that she might be related to Deb Johnson. Because she always used to brag about all the people, that she knew on the thing. So she used to sexually harass me. She told me she got turned out by her best friend and she liked it and this and that, and I need to try it. No, I don't need to try it. I like men, and I told her so. I said, you do you, and good luck on that. And I just stick with the guys. I know I have problems with a lot of guys and stuff like that, but maybe it's the kind of guys I choose to date. So I try to leave it at that. She would just persist and persist and persist. She followed me in the bathroom. She would do all kinds of stuff. When that didn't work, she used intimidation. I remember one time when we finally did get out of the academy, we went into the jails. I was talking to Officer Waterman. Officer Waterman just came on the job, and she was saying, Officer Kid, how do you keep your house so quiet and how you get the guys to do so and so. So we outside talking, and here comes Officer Gales following me, because every time I get a new post, because when I first got into 95, I didn't have a regular post, so I was all over the place. But I also kept a clean house and a quiet house. And I'm explaining to Officer Waterman what's how to get the guys to do stuff for you to clean the house and keep the house quiet and stuff like that and make everything go smoothly. Here comes Gales, and in the dorms there's a gate and it's locked. She's outside the gate. Oh, there you go, you bitch! Fuck you! I'm like, so Officer Waterman looked at me. She's like, what? What's going on? I'm like, don't pay her no mind. Every time she saw me talking to a female officer, she got pissed off because she wanted me. I never gave her no inkling that I'm lesbian or nothing like that, because I'm not. But she just attached to me, because on the island, it's a game to these lesbians, how much women they can turn out. And some of these women fall for that, and they don't understand. They just as bad as the men. And with lesbians, they wait till something is going wrong in your life. They befriend you, and then they try to make you feel good. If you need money, they lend you money, and then they creep up on you like that. And then they try to have sex with you, and when they do, it's like a notch on their belt. They don't seriously want to be with you. They just trying to turn you out, as they say. So, I was like, no. So Gails got pissed off that I wouldn't budge. So, and she was harassing me all the time, and she was at the gate cussing me out. So Officer Waterman was pregnant at the time. She said, whatever's going on, Officer G, please don't get me involved because I'm pregnant, and they're gonna want to investigate, and I can't be going for questioning, you know. And I honored that. So when I did report Gales, I didn't use Officer Waterman as a whatchamacallit, a witness to Gail's nonsense. I used the other officers, and I used um somebody that I knew that saw the situation. But Waterman told me, she said, I'm pregnant. I can't, get into stuff like that. So I didn't use Officer Waterman to with Gales and nonsense. But eventually they moved Gales. But come to find out that Gales know Johnson. Now, mind you, all the bad behavior, she never wanted to go on duty. She never wanted to do work, whatever. But years later, she became Officer Gales, became secretary to Deb Cripps. How that happened? This officer is moving from jail to jail because she also went into Rosie's, that's the women's jail, and was fighting over there with other female officers trying to take their women or trying to turn them out and stuff like that. And she was fighting over there, and they transferred her out of there. So how did you become a secretary to the DEP? Was it that they couldn't put you nowhere else, so they had to put you down to sit down or whatever, so they got you a promoter? And in jail, that's a good promotion. So why did they give her a job working with the DEP? So her and Deb Cripps, she became Deb Cripps' office secretary. So he moved out because he got promoted, and then he came back as warden. Now, mind you, they kicked her out because she harassed me. So when Deb Cripps became Warden Cripps, here he comes bringing her on, and he knew the situation. So somebody buzzed in my ear, Officer G, Nakia Gales is back into the facility. Now, I would ignore that because she's in the office. What can she do? But she's at a position with the warden now. So I went to my delegate. I went to the EEO officer. I'm like, listen, it ain't happened yet, but I don't want it to happen. She's the warden secretary now, and she hasn't been here a long time, but her friends has been bothering me. Her girlfriend has been bothering me. Burke's been bothering me. All the lesbians have been bothering me. So now she's here and the warden secretary. I'm just letting you know in advance. You understand? And they moved her again. You understand? But Warden Cripps should have known better because he knew the situation why she left in the first place. You should have got a new secretary and say, okay, Officer Gales, you can't be my secretary because you have a situation over there in 95. I'm gonna get me a new secretary. He could have did that, but he didn't. Over. He brought her over, and the EEO officer had her moved. You understand? So all that animosity, was building up with Dumb, and then I found out she's related to Deb Johnson. I'm not too sure, but I think she is. And then there was Rochester. Now Rochester, she liked the guy. She was messing around with this officer on the jail, and he so happened to like me. I didn't know that him and Rochester was messing around. I thought he was cute. I'm like, all right, I see what's going on with that. And then one time me and him was on roll call, and he came and stood next to me, and here come Rochester standing in front, and she came barely any room now. She came and plopped herself in the middle of him and I. So as a woman, you would get the message, and I got the message. Okay, that's your boo thing, or you got your eye on that. I stopped talking. I stopped really, thinking with the officer. So now he got transferred. A couple of months later, he got transferred. But she still bothered me on that subject. I'm not talking to that officer. Why you after me? So her and Johnson is close. So Johnson using all her powers and stuff, messing around with my schedule and all that stuff. So it's a song and dance up in there. So Johnson not only didn't like me because I wasn't selling drugs, moving drugs for her clique. Now she had two other reasons. Because Burks was a basketball player and she was the coach, I heard, and now Rochester is her niece or some kind of relation. So, two times whatever. So I'm here trying to maneuver away from these women, but every time I get a new post, they would call to find out where I'm at. Then they would the new A officer, because I was the B, the A officer, they would try to get to know the A officer, and then talk bad about me or whatever the case may be. And some people were sitting here, you keep pointing fingers at everybody else, but you're not pointing fingers at yourself. So something must be wrong with you, and you're just trying to blame everybody else. The psychology way or whatever. No, it was because I'm not trying to get in nobody drug gang. I'm not trying to be in nobody clique, and I'm trying to help the investigation officers, because when things go down, here come the investigation this, but they stop at the officer. But it's really the depths and the captains that's making the move. I mean, yeah, you caught another officer putting drugs in his or her area, but it's not dumb. It's the depths and the captains that's making the moves. You understand? And so they go down, their families suffer, they lose their job, they go to jail. And the captain, all they do, the captains and the warden, not the wardens, the captain and the depths, all they do is replace that person. Still. All they do is, yeah, I'm on a feathered pillow. All they do is replace that person, that officer. You understand? And they just keep the business going. So you gotta investigate the captains and the depths, because the warden is not really involved for the most part, because they out with the mayor and stuff like that, so they're not involved with that nonsense. It's the depths and the captains. Mostly the depths, because when I was saying, and then the captains get recruited into that, because when I wasn't following suit, my captain came to me and said, "Oh, give me your badge." I'm like, "Give you what? Who the hell you think you are?" Because now they on the path of saying she's crazy. Oh, you're acting irrationally. No, I'm not acting irrationally. I'm just not budging to y'all nonsense. I'm not bowing down to y'all because she used to. This is what she used to do. I'm trying to remember her name. Um, when they had to move an inmate, she'd be in her office. The inmate have to be moved 2 hours in advance. I have to leave at 12. So a good captain would come move the body. What, 20 minutes? 10, 20 minutes? The inmates got to move. Da da da. You walk them through the hallway. You got the hallway staff helping you out, and boom, you put them in the area. Everything is fine. She used to always wait till I'm leaving. Officer G, can you transfer this inmate to a different area? I'm on my way out. You've been sitting on it for 2, 3 hours. You couldn't come and move it. What are you doing in the office? Nothing. You're not doing nothing in the office. You could have came and moved the inmate, but you know, because they putting pressure on you. And so, okay, I used to move the inmates. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. You dropped them off, they was accepted. Sometimes you dropped them off and the officer said, oh, I don't have no room in that house, or that person can't come in my house because they've been here before, it wasn't a fight, blah, 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 blah. So here it is that you're supposed to be off and it's taking you 20, 30, 40 minutes to find a bed for this inmate. So you either take them back to where you got them or you take them in intake. And it's a lot of paperwork to deal with that. It's a lot of stuff going on with that. So therefore, every time she'd be eating almost an hour out of my time because I'm walking out of there at 1 o'clock, not putting in a late slip or nothing. So then I started being petty and I started putting in late slips to send them a message, and yeah, so I started explaining on the late slips why I'm putting in my 30 minutes overtime slip. I mean, yeah, overtime slip, not late slip. I used to put in my overtime slips because they used to do it on purpose. You in the office doing nothing. I mean, what is it going to take you to just come and transfer the inmate or have a hallway or officer transfer the inmate? I'm getting off at 12. And then Officer Manley. Officer Manley knew that I was getting off at 12. Officer Manley would get released on time by Officer Waterman. So this made me and Waterman start having arguments. And Officer Manley would sit there, get released by Officer Waterman or the relieving officer for her lunch. She would sit there and have lunch at her desk. And then 10 minutes before 12, she would say, oh, Miss G, I'm coming right back. And she would take another 40 minutes to purposely make me late, to get off work. I've been there since last night. I'm tired. I want to go home. I got to come back tonight. I want to go home, take a shower, go to bed, get something to eat. But she used to do this on purpose. Every chance she got. And then, what's her name used to do it upstairs. But she would go to me when she get released, but she would come back late. So they both started coming back late every time every time I'm supposed to get off work on purpose. Because every time they come back, I would explain to them, like, I have to leave. Oh, something happened in the hallway. Da, 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 da. Okay, once in a while, maybe it happened, but all the time you're going to have lunch here, and then 10 minutes before I'm supposed to get off, you're going to tell me you're taking lunch. So what I used to do, I used to call the people in the hallway and ask them to hold. I said, can I hold your speaker? I forgot it's a walkie-talkie. I said, can I hold your walkie-talkie? So I used to get on the walkie-talkie and I used to be like, Officer so-and-so, can you come back to post? Because Officer G has to go home. Is she going to put in a late slip? And when you do that, everybody in the jail hear that. The warden would hear it. The depths would hear it. The captains, everybody would hear it. They'd be like, what the hell is going on? So, and I explained to the captain, I'm like, Captain, every time I'm supposed to go home, these two decide to come. Manly decides to come to play slick and take 40 minutes at her desk and 40 minutes outside. And then what's her name upstairs? She always has something to do on the outside, taking all hour and a half lunch. So, you trying to keep the peace, but you're the only one trying to keep the peace. Everybody trying to be slick and everybody trying to send you message. Okay, send a message. Now the wardens know that you're coming back on post late. Because, of course, they used to come to me, why are you doing that? I'm like, I told them. They're making a habit of it. And I'm putting in my overtime slip. So, of course, they get mad because the money's coming out their pocket. Because all these months you doing it, I wasn't putting in no late slip. I mean, I wasn't putting in no overtime slip. But to send you a message, I did it. I put in my slip. You're not going to keep, eating up my time, making a joke of it because you want to laugh about it, you know, and think you're going to get away with it. No. Now it's on record that you doing it on purpose. So then me and her had started having, because, they just want you to sit up there and take their bullshit. No, I'm not going to take your bullshit for so long. So, anyway, so they both signed a petition saying they want me, they can't work with me and stuff like that. So they was told, you don't want to work with her, you got to be transferred because this is her post. This is her post, which is me. It's my post. I got it on paper. You don't. She's doing you a solid by having you as her partner. So you don't want to work with her, just go get a transfer somewhere else. Plain and simple. So that petition got ripped up. And especially when I was telling the truth that you both purposely relieving me from lunch late. So then they used to try to blame it on Waterman. And then I started putting on the thing why I'm putting in a slip. Not because Waterman relieved them late. It's because they was purposely being late from lunch. Officer Waterman came on time. Or whoever officer came to relieve at that time. You understand? So, they started when I get so they would go and try to take me off post. The depths and would take me off post. They would go in there, and whoever does my schedule, they would schedule me acting like it's